What's up? What's going on? So, we witnessed history yet again in the S&P 500 on Monday. We had the biggest move in the shortest period of time with that bounce off of that fake news right through here that went from 480 to 520. And then today we had the biggest reversal in history, bigger than COVID, bigger than '08, bigger than the dot-com, going from 4% green to 3% red. So, wild. VIX, I was wrong. Came out green on it. Recognized I was wrong. We had this little morning shove, fake high daybreak, hard crack, lower high. Shorted it, covered it, reshorted, covered the flush, reshorted again, another high day clear out, and then just covered it into lows. But it was a good cover. that's wild. And now we're tapping right up into prior resistance. If it gets over 90s, then time to be careful. Time to be careful. Because this was all like momentum the last few days, where it was just up, 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 and you get like that snapbacks. Once it starts to build over resistance, you got to be careful. Same kind of thing. If this starts taking out like this week's channel, yikes. I was just flipping through scans here, so we'll wait for a few people to hop on in, and then I will get into it. I don't have a ton, to be honest. I had traded GE as well today, short side, because right in here you can see like 940, 950 time-wise is SPY starting to make new highs. And GE just didn't want to participate. We had a double top and then this little failed fall through setup right through here. So I started leaning through those 176s. It just took way too long to break down. So I had covered. I was right, but I wasn't willing to wait and get caught in one of those swipes again. How news driven this market is. Not interested. Oh, excuse me. I saw Lucas on Twitter today said he basically sold everything. So he's not even positioned at this point. MLGO looks like it could be a quiet fader, the way this thing's acting. You've had hard crack lower highs now. Could just fizzle out. In terms of small caps, Arab, multi-day run, couple days of pullback. Still meets the dollar volume requirement. Still quite a bit of resistance up here in the 10s. So I would like it to be lower. Possible backside bounce. ICCT looks a bit better. 1 day, 2 red days, and now right near prior resistance, and it's got room back up to those mid 4s, so I think this could be a backside bounce watch. Oh, excuse me. NAOV, GLXG, all those ones got whacked today in terms of gappers. FMTO. Nothing really there. Oh man. Saw some guys trading like Tesla. What would you call them? Derivatives, ETFs. Because Tesla is kind of pivoting here. I don't hate that short idea. What happened to Tesla in there? Gap down and super tight every day. That's weird. But we've got this little pivot spot here. 217, 214, 217. I'm looking at the lows right through here. I'll put that on watch. I like that look. Daily. So you got Tesla Q inverse name. See how this one's building. Not bad. I saw MicroStrategy get hit today. There's another pivot right through there. They had a line in their filing I saw posted today basically saying that they may need to sell Bitcoin at less than ideal prices to satisfy financial obligations. And as you can expect, that didn't get taken very well. But I like that daily pivot there. So far I like Master, Tesla. And I'm a bit short biased now. Because I was thinking consolidation on SPY and a volatility melt. But given that volatility is still very active, everybody was long here and got completely smoked and unwound. So if this continues to take out those 490s, I'm going to be leaning short bias in a bunch of the names. Similar to that Walmart. Unfortunately, this one faded pretty hard as well, but you had that 84 breakdown that gets hit. I was hoping it was going to stay a bit closer to 84s, but Palantir retest of 80s and failed. Not really interested in NVIDIA. MU, not quite back to lows yet. Still waiting on this Dollar Tree. I'm stalking it. App. Yeah, I didn't expect this kind of range. There was pretty clean setups in terms of like trend line setups today. So like app, I had this one drawn this morning. Something like this. And was looking at it right through here, 255s. But like a 255 entry, I would have been looking towards lows, like make like a few points. There's no chance I would have been looking for 30 points on that. And Soxes and Soxel had the same kind of setup right through here. They were pretty clean, like every time it topped, and then it breaks and comes back and retests. And Soxel did the same thing right through here. They were pretty clean, but my bias on the day was not a complete retrace of yesterday's move. I just didn't think that was in the cards. That's all right. Apple got absolutely smoked. There's definitely some relative weakness in this name. It's down 6%. And it's below its bounce lows where the other ones are pulling back into those levels. Yeah, that 160s is a huge level. If that gets taken out, next pivot's way down here. That's insane in the membrane. Insane. He's got no brain. Insane in the membrane. check on chat here. Luke, everyone's trying to catch the bottom. Tina, large caps don't always move as rapidly as small caps. Yeah, they are right now in like the last 4 or 5 sessions, but they usually don't. Hey, multi-breakout, how much volume would you like to see? For example, sober. In terms of multi-day breakouts, I basically need... This isn't a multi-day breakout. But in terms of breakouts for me when I'm looking at small cap names, I'm looking for basically as long as it's intraday is tradable. Like this kind of volume here, this is tradable. When you start getting volume like this and you get gaps in the chart, that's not tradable. But this kind of action is tradable. So I need tradable volume, trading tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands a minute, and just like steady tape, where there's always buyers and sellers. So it's liquid, it's got traders' attention. So in terms of volume that I'm looking for to trade it is tradable volume. And then for breakouts, I want the recent daily chart to have larger relative volume compared to its personal daily chart. Like this one trading here, it's traded this volume a ton of times and hasn't got going. Like CRVO, for example. This one, volume starts trading here. Has it ever traded that? Nope. So none of this resistance is super relevant. So once you get this move, and then you get this breakout here through the 8s, now you're getting, if I zoom in like intraday, through that $8 breakout, right through here, you can see tradable volume. And then even though it drops off, you're still getting tens of thousands a minute. It just traded so much off the open, it looked even bigger. But now it's consolidating and holding over that breakout level. It's tradable intraday, and it's high relative volume to what it usually trades on the daily. That's what I'm looking for multi-day breakouts. Would you wait for Tesla to break its lows and then support to become resistance and fail to follow through to enter, or take a failed spike off the lows, anticipating a break of the lows for a short? Yeah, good question. The way I've been... So I'm new to this large cap and trading these kinds of setups. So I had seen this little kind of early entry, but it only had 2 touches on it, right here and here. And it kind of touched it here, but it failed it pretty quickly. So I like those higher low trends when you can get like an early entry before the lows, kind of like when I traded GUR, when you got this higher low, but it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches before it finally broke. So it was a lot more meaningful of a trend. But then I can short here, instead of having a short down through 20, I can short at 23, and I'm already $3 in the money, and I can let it chop around and do its thing. So I prefer those, but in Tesla's case, I think the higher odds play is waiting for a 218 flush, come back and retest and become resistance. I think that's the higher odds play. AVGO, this one, what was the day that I traded this one? Because this one was a flat bottom break on 326. I've still got the line on there. So you can see here all these touches on this flat bottom break, and then it finally gave up right here. So what this one did here was we had it gap down below this key level, and then it grinds up. But it's already come back. It's within shooting distance of those lows, that I would much rather take a loss on this early entry pivot and risk highs. Take like a 187.50 entry and risk 50 cents. So the odds of me getting stopped out are a bit higher than if 187 started peaking out. But I also got 50 cents of risk on a $188 name. If you can risk 50 cents and intraday, this thing pulls 180s down to 170s, you're making $10 on 50 cent risk. That's a 20-1 trade. So if Tesla were to do something like this, where it gaps down and it's testing this 217, it's opening flat, and I get some sort of little morning pop with a steady grind, and I can get a failed fall through entry risking highs, I'll take that and I'll stop out of that thing 3-4 times, giving it some attempts, just because the risk reward is so good if it sets up like AVGO did. But yeah, I think that answers your question. Master looks good too. I don't really like Bitcoin correlation. You just get to focus on so much more than just the chart itself. And I have such a bias on MSTR. Like, I want this thing to go to 0. It did the same thing. Was it 2021? I think it was. I think it was this. Like, it did the same thing right over here. Like, I think MSTR is right here, right now, where you had that big parabolic, it chops around for months on end. You get this little flat bottom right here. Couple touches, retests. And then I'm thinking tomorrow we're like here or here. We're testing on it. We're sitting right on it. And I think we get that little pivot move. I think we're doing the exact same thing right now. Testing it. I think we might gap down a little bit through it. If we gap up slightly, I think pops get shorted, or pops get sold, I should say. But I think we're right there, and I want to see this thing die. I hate this name. It's the worst. Don't let my bias dictate your trade, though. But I think we go right back to here, personally. 230s down to like 180. Yeah, the Tesla inverse names. I think Tesla D used to trade. I don't think it trades anymore. And then Tesla Q is an inverse name. Like, this looks like a long setup. And you've got Tesla long is right near lows. TSLT, I think, was another one. So all those ETFs are lining up. Biotech, volatility names. Gosh, everything is squeezing all these freaking ETFs. VIX, VIXY, UVIX, LabD, all this junk. I remember back over here, my fader scan had like 600 and something, almost 700 names on it. And even today, with one of the worst reversal days, it's still only 200 names. So still not even as ugly in terms of breadth. IQ, that's a nice little breakdown. I didn't even see that name. Pretty cheap, but it's moving. Tilray's at 40 cents. Large caps preferred them. Easier risk-wise. Trading them with options. I've never traded options. I don't really know much about options. When names are options-driven, I lean on guys like Chris Lanzelotti and stuff in the Investors Underground chat. I don't really know much about options. But I did if you check the first link down in the description, I believe I put my Sunday scan with Investors Underground in there. It's the first link down below, and you can skip through to if you want the question answered. I'll touch on it right now, but you could skip through like Chris's intro in the beginning, and when I hop on and we start going over market thoughts. Basically in March, I wasn't making much in March. I trade small caps almost exclusively. I almost never touched large caps. And I talk with Kyle Williams a bunch, and his money in March came from one or two trades, dip buying Tesla in that crash right here was where most of his money came, and then he made another bit here. But he was like net negative in March on his small cap strategies. He's like a seasoned veteran trader. And if I trade similar to him and I'm experiencing the same things, and most of his money comes from a large cap, then I'm thinking to myself, why am I beating a dead horse? That's the definition of insanity when I'm doing the same thing, expecting something to change. So I'm like, why am I forcing all these opportunities on small caps if they're not netting me any money? So I started going through the IU database, and I talked with Ariel a bit when we were in Boston, New Hampshire, and I liked his style, stemming daily chart. He trades similar in large caps as I do with small caps, so I think it was a fairly like good understanding pivot move for me. And I started trading these breakdowns in an overall weak market, and they were working. Big picture, daily chart, trend joins, and daily gives you a bias. Intraday tells you how to trade it, and it was working. So typically I only trade small caps, but in the current environment, with the way SPY is trading like a small cap, I think having the attention and focus there is worthwhile right now. But yeah, I did go into a bit of a discussion there with Chris on the Sunday scan. So if you, after I'm done here in a few minutes, if you want to, feel free to click on that link. I think it goes over to my Twitter, and then the Twitter's got the link or something, but it was just the easiest way for me to link it. MSTR is losing, what is that, the 200-day moving average as well? Right through 248. It hasn't been below the 200-day since like October 2023. So MSTR looks like a massive short tomorrow. I'm going to pray for a gap up on that thing. I wonder what MSTZ is doing. Because technically, wow, that's way off the highs. Wow. Like back here, 2.7 to 228 was right in here. Same prices. That seems mispriced. That's weird. That's the inverse ETF to MicroStrategy. Weird. So, yeah, with that 200 loss and that support level coming in, I'm going to look for all pops versus 250 and look to lean that some up. I don't want to get shadow banned. No swearing. Kids show. Wayfair, you've got just what I need. Exactly, Ray. Yeah. Makes sense. Adapting my style by using small cap strategies and bringing it into large caps. Exactly. That was from a movie, wasn't it? Exactly. I saw a China pump name. Oh, what the hell? Why did that just close on me? DGNX. Diginex. I think one of these days this thing's gonna like lose $80 and it's just gonna whoosh. Just like a China pump. Getting some messages on it. Not saying I won't go higher first, but I will keep it on watch. Golan suggests giving large caps a bit more wiggle room. They don't fit like as perfectly as small caps. Okay. Noted. Noted. And typically, like, I like getting in a trade and having a set risk. Just short it, risk $1,000 or something like that. And just know what I'm going to lose, what level I'm stopping out over. I like that. It feels comfy to me. But, yeah, I don't like that kind of wishy-washy, like, oh, I'm going to let it break. Like, if like, using what you're saying there, if I was going to short Tesla and I wanted to risk high a day, I would size in to like a 250 stop or something like that, where I would give it room, but I wouldn't be like a set risk on highs, but let's see what it does when it breaks through it. I just have a set risk above highs because I'd want to be stopped there and have dollar risk versus that level. Is kind of, I think, how I would do it if I were to take that approach. Where someone like Nate is okay, sizing versus highs, but if it breaks it by 10, 20 cents, he doesn't really care. He likes seeing the action breathe through it. SLNO, that thing got whacked. It's a big move. Oof. Wow, that is orgasmic. Look at this. Oh my god. Doesn't that make you smile? Look at this. Give me some more of these. Holy smokes. That is as clean as you will ever get. My god. You could slam a 6780 breakdown and be risking 30 cents. My god. Ugh. And then you got this little 65 not too far away. Ugh. That is amazing. And Newsmax looks like it's rolling over. Taking out these lows. Kind of looks donezo. Oh, Ava. Remember that one? I had that one on a staying familiar list, but I did not stay familiar with it. It's starting to fail to follow through. Didn't really get super extended. Alrighty. Yeah, so all these large caps are dependent on whatever the SPY does. So we're coming in to a very big level where a lot of volume traded hands. It was intraday low and pre-market low right there in this like 483-ish, call it, 483 over under. So we're coming into that level. It could just as easily, basically, if you were to draw a line at, call it 483, and then visualize this red line at 525, we're in this channel. So anything up towards 525 likely gets sold, anything down towards 483 gets bought. And until it breaks out of this channel, it's just a wide range consolidation spot. So for some short ideas, I'd look for SPY to stay weak and start hammering on that support. And look for a rollover, and the lower SPY goes, more fear that's in the market. The higher VIX is going to go. I'm hoping it breaks out through 90, because the higher this thing goes, the better. Like, look at that. You had tons of volatility. Come on. Where you had like this parabolic, holds up, breaks out, parabolic, holds up, breaks out, holds up, breaks out, pull back. And until you get like these and starts consolidating and breaking down, then you get those quiet faders. But there's nothing saying it can't have additional legs. It happened there in 2020. It doesn't go back any farther. Does the VIX go back farther? No? You VIXy? That one go back farther? No? What the heck? UVIX? Were these things not a thing back in like 08? What the hell? Anyways. TQs. This is cool. I like this market, whether you're making money or not. I think this is a great learning environment for picking your spots, not being rewarded for buying every dip. I like fear markets when everybody's terrified, not only because I can make money in a long-term portfolio, but it also brings volatility when people panic. And I like that. This is wild. 100 points. That's like 100 points off of 260. Is that 26%? Something like that. That's wild. Or no, is it more than that? 100 on 300 would be 30. And 40, is that 34%? Isn't it? The other way? Not 26, it's 34. I think. Let me just pull up a freaking calculator instead of doing stupid mental math. 260. %. Okay, close enough. 36, 38. I'm a goddamn genius. But that's wild. 38% pullback in Apple. Has it ever done that before? Whoa. In 2000, obviously split adjusted. But going from 120 down to 20 cents. So it's gotten worse. Then it goes on a tear. What did it do in 08? 08. I wonder if we'll do something like this. If we'll have this pullback consolidation, everyone thinks they're out of the woodwork, and then one last, like, boom. So this one went from like 7 down to 3, like 50%. A little bit more. Wow. You had a little pullback there from 25 down to 14, like $10 on 25. So this thing likes to go like 50% when it really pulls. This is that other tariff market back here. Going from like 60-ish down to 35-ish. So like 50% off of 260s into this 130 range. I don't hate that. I think my average on this is around this 140s. Average on Apple. So that's all right. This gap down kind of messed up a bunch of these charts I was looking for multi-day breakdowns on, because like app has now undercut and rallied off of it. GE, if that loses those 150s, it could get hit. It's under its 200-day at 180, so it's consolidating under its 200-day right now. GNVR. Some people talking about liquidity trap on this. Saw a few mentions of it. Doesn't look terrible, but it trades too thin for me. I don't like those risky low float names. Nvidia hasn't done nothing. If that starts to give way under that 90, that's going to get hit. Same thing, undercut and rally, a bit hard for me to trade that. Walmart, same kind of thing, undercut and rally. It's a bit hard for me to trade now that it's extending from its breakdown spot. So I think probably Tesla and Master are probably my main two. I think, and then I'll keep an eye on ICCT, small cap for a backside bounce. I think that's probably where my focus is tomorrow. Coming into today, I don't know if you could tell by my temperament on the watch list yesterday, but the trade had come that I was looking for, and I didn't really have a plan for what was going to happen today. I had a bit of an idea what I thought could happen on VIX, which turned out to be wrong. But there wasn't a whole lot of conviction or size in any trade I was going to take, and I ended up not really taking. I traded GE and VIX, so just kind of boring, small size trades. But with something like Tesla and Master, if SPY starts to confirm, I like those looks. Tesla, the 50 and the 100-day or 200-day are right here where it topped out, continuing to roll over. And then Master just took out its 200-day at 250 today. So those are looking good. And ICCT is down 40%. This one was down 50% on this day before it rallied. So it likes to squeeze back down to some recent levels that it bounced off of last time. So see if this little 270, 280 can hold, and then a little rip into the mid fours. We'll see. That's what I got. So I will leave it there. Trade them well tomorrow, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the room. Peace.